Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And yeah, I know, we're like 3 weeks into 2018. And I know that I said I did not make any New Year's resolutions, but I do kind of have some goals. And I've changed up the workout routine a little bit. Things are going well for me. What about for you? And I realize that you can't talk back to me right now. But again, as I said when discussing New Year's resolutions, if you have any, or if you have set some goals for the year, and I prefer to do goal setting instead of making resolutions, I'm genuinely curious. So send an email, goals@fppradio.com. GOALS @fppradio.com. Maybe one of your goals was to be happier. Well, I've got an article. The headline says, "This formula will make you happier at work and at home." But I don't think there's necessarily a quote-unquote formula for happiness. But the article is interesting nonetheless. So let's jump into it. The article, as a fair number of articles that I get, comes from archetypes.com. And yes, as always, the link will be in the show notes. Article begins. Growth is good and we all want to be part of a growing company, but there is a dark side. A year of late nights, working on weekends, always being connected can really take a toll on people, depleting energy and impacting well-being. Research shows that people who have more personal resources like hope, optimism, and resilience are able to find and maintain a better balance between job demands and resources. These people usually use these same personal resources to find sources of passion and joy both at and outside of work. The great news about personal resources is that they are like a renewable energy source. The most powerful we can renew them is by improving, or rather the most powerful way we can renew them is by improving our own well-being. Well-being isn't just about being fit, not being sick, or feeling happy. It's about being well in many aspects of our life. And I just want to pause here to say that I learned over the weekend that apparently the word fit is millennial slang for hot and sexy, not just athletic. I never knew that before until listening to a podcast about fitness, and the guys had, I think it was one of the host daughters on who was the resident millennial, and she was explaining some of the slang, and I still really don't understand all of what was being said, but it was interesting that she said, yeah, if you say somebody's fit, you might wind up offending them. They might think that you are coming on to them rather strong. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of strange, that. So continuing on with the article, the author writes, the Japanese concept of Ikigai, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Ikigai, which translates as a reason to get up in the morning, encompasses many aspects of well-being, like what we love, what we're good at, and what the world needs, and what we can get paid for. Author Dan Buettner believes that's a key factor in the exceptionally long lives of Okinawans. The author says, when my company was still very young, I saw that many of the leaders we were working with to grow the business were experiencing a lot of stress. So we developed a self-assessment tool to measure 5 dimensions of well-being. Over the last 16 years, we've shared it with thousands of leaders around the world to help them take care of their own well-being and that of those around them. Take a look at these 5 aspects of well-being and reflecting on what matters to you. What are you doing to have more well-being in your own life? And again, this is more reflective than a formula, even though the article says, here's a formula for happiness. But again, it's not a formula. These are things to reflect upon. And, you can work these things into your life, but it's not a formula of wake up at 5 a.m., drink a cup of coffee, do this, do that. And again, even if there was a quote-unquote formula, and I know that there are a bunch of articles of here's what the 10 richest people in the world do before breakfast or whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean that if you do those things, you will be among the 10 richest people, but it's sort of a best practices sort of thing of, yes, these are some really good ideas. But again, just because you do things that rich people do does not mean that you will be rich. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with not being rich. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being rich either. Not everybody wants to have $100 billion. Not everybody can manage $100 billion. Again, not saying there's anything wrong with having lots of money, not saying there's anything wrong with not having lots of money either. And I know there's the saying that, money can't buy happiness, but it's better to cry in a Lamborghini than to cry on a bicycle. But again, not everybody wants to have that Lamborghini. And that's one of the, I guess, problems is the right term to use here. One of the problems with living in a materialistic society is that there's some sort of preconception that if you don't have fill in the blank, then you must be miserable. Well, no, not necessarily. Yeah, well, would it be nice to have a much larger bank account? Sure. Would it be worse to have a smaller bank account? Yup. Stay tuned. We'll jump into these 5 aspects of well-being and things that you should ask yourself involving all of them. Stay tuned. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. We'll jump back into the article here in just a second. But maybe something that would make you happier is having a bigger crypto folio. And by that, I mean a larger portfolio of cryptocurrencies. Maybe you're looking for a better cryptocurrency. Maybe there are aspects of Bitcoin that you like, but you can't get fully on board. Maybe there are aspects of, say, Dash or Monero or something else that you like, but you don't know if you could get fully on board. What if I told you there was a better cryptocurrency, one that focused on users and usability? Talking about Zen Cash. Zen Cash, yeah, that's right, Zen, as in, sort of a Buddhist master sort of thing. Zen, it's Zen. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages. Yeah, that's right, not just English. And those wallets are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io. Now, let's look at these 5 aspects of well-being that should be reflected upon to find out what really matters to you. And once you find out what matters to you, then you can be happier. Again, the article is, "This formula will make you happier." Again, there is no formula for happiness. There's just not. But let's delve in. Peace. This aspect of well-being is characterized by a sense of meaning and purpose in life that leads to calmness, balance, and feeling connected to something larger than ourselves. For many, organized religion is a powerful source of peace, but others find peace in other ways, including through the work they do. And by this, they don't mean just the thing you do in exchange for money. You can put in some volunteer time, which, that's work. It's just not paid work. So ask yourself the following questions. My job, and some of these are formed in the form of a statement that you would either agree or disagree with. My job allows me to align my values with my actions. Does this sound like your job or not? Next, I believe that I'm contributing to a greater good. And this is a tricky phrase here, the greater good, because there are some people that lack empathy that will do horrible things, quote unquote, for the greater good. Now, if you're seeking inner peace, chances are you have empathy, so you're not likely to do horrible things, quote unquote, for the greater good. They're talking about actually for the betterment of humanity and society as a whole. And again, not to the detriment of any individual. Continuing on, the next under peace that you need to reflect upon and answer either agree or disagree. I spend time on activities that give me a sense of peace. And again, defining, what inner peace actually means is really not something that I can answer for you. But again, and I know there are the people, well, so-and-so really enjoys being a mass murderer. That brings them happiness. Well, no, that doesn't actually bring them happiness. And if you enjoy harming other people, then you really lack empathy. And empathy is something that is very important, and we've discussed it numerous times on this show. Continuing on, adaptation. This includes the attitudes we adopt, the values that we hold, and our behaviors to maintain balance and productivity in our work, especially in the face of disruptive change. When our adaptation level is high, we're both flexible and focused. We feel confident we can overcome obstacles and get the job done despite ambiguity. And this is something that, and luckily it's not really anything that I deal with now, but I have dealt with previously, to where there's just sort of been a rough outline of, get this done. Well, do I have some kind of outline on how you want this to be done? What sort of parameters, etc.? Nope, just get it done. Well, very ambiguous. And then you do it, and you get told, well, you didn't do it the right way. Well, you didn't tell me how you wanted it done. You just said get it done. Well, I thought you knew. No, if I knew, I wouldn't have asked you questions. So being able to overcome some obstacles and do something despite there being ambiguity does show adaptation, but also it kind of shows that, whoever you're working with or working for has some flexibility in what exactly they want. And I just want to digress here and say that if you have a really good boss that, ask you to do something, hopefully they will either have taught you well enough what the job is that you can do something without very specific instructions, but at the same time, and again, that there's a lot of wiggle room here. So if you're doing, say, graphic design, maybe you don't want specific instructions from the client. You just, let me be creative. But on the other hand, if you're doing some sort of service job, well, you need, some kind of instructions of this is how we wind up dealing with X problem with the customer. So again, very broad swaths here to where, sometimes, you do want those creative juices in your employees or people that you're contracted with. And on the other hand, there are times when, you do need to be very specific. So again, for adaptation, ask yourself the following. And again, these are kind of agree, disagree statements. I adapt quickly to unexpected changes. I persevere when faced with a problem. I take responsibility to build my knowledge and skills. And again, some of these might not apply to everyone. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Continuing on, and one of the opposites of adaptation is control. Now, it's not polar opposites, but it's not exactly, a synonym either. This involves both our ability to achieve the goals we've set and our sense that we have the right support network. It includes using our own personal interest, attitudes, and self-management techniques to help us enjoy our work, boost our performance, and make positive changes in our work environment. Ask yourself the following questions about control. And again, these are not necessarily formed in the phrase of a question, more statements that you would either agree or disagree with. I spend my time and energy focusing on problems I can control, not on things I cannot. Number 2, I monitor my performance and look for ways to improve. And number 3, I reward myself for attaining goals with pleasurable activities. And again, maybe you're not worried about, your work life, but you've got other goals that you want to wind up meeting. Maybe you have some sort of fitness goal. And again, these can apply to anything. Are you on a plan to wind up running, say, 100-mile ultramarathon? You've got a training plan. But then there are going to be things within that training plan that you can't necessarily control. You monitor your performance on that training plan. Look for ways to improve your performance. Maybe you want to, and this is not something that I'm training for anytime soon. Again, I have said that in 2019, I do want to do a 100-mile ultra. So in about a year, I'll really be looking at this hard and heavy, but maybe the goal is finish in 24 hours. Okay, well, what sort of pace do you need to maintain? When you go for that, and I realize the words that I'm about to say will sound foreign to people that aren't runners or people that have never thought of doing a 100-mile ultra, but when you go for that 50-mile training run, how's your time? How does that stack up with what the goal is? And again, I realize how weird the phrase 50-mile training run sounds. Next on the list is energy, physical energy. This is about the state of feeling truly healthy, not simply having no symptoms of disease. Being physically well and having a high level of energy involves many lifestyle choices. The choices we make either contribute to a strong, healthy, fit body that lasts a long time and resists sickness, or it leads to an unwell body that is susceptible to fatigue, stress, illness, and disease. Can you say the following things as factual statements? I exercise for at least 20 minutes 3 times per week. Number 2, I drink at least 8 glasses of water each day. And, the science is still out on whether or not you need 8 glasses of water each day. That seems to be one of those, I don't want to say misconceptions, but one of those lingering myths that, you really need 8 glasses of water a day. But everybody is going to be different. Now, I will say that you should probably drink more water than you do soda. And I'm not going to necessarily take a stance on drinking actual fruit juice, drinking actual vegetable juice, things of that sort. Those are definitely much, much better than soda. But again, the 8 glasses of water could wind up just giving you excess water weight. Now, yeah, I know that your body will flush out whatever water it doesn't need, but at the same time, you don't need to, intentionally wind up drowning yourself with water just because, I need to make sure I get these 8 glasses. And number 3 on the list under energy and physical of can you say this as a factual statement? I eat at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. I cannot say that as a factual statement. However, I do consume at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. That's because I take supplements and put those in my smoothie and drink that in the morning. So yes, I'm getting those 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. I'm just not sitting there eating sticks of broccoli and celery and all those other weird green things that grow in the dirt and taste like dirt. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of vegetables. And if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that. And some people would say it's a miracle that I was able to lose 145 pounds without eating vegetables. Continuing on the final thing on the list here of different aspects of well-being to reflect upon that can help you be happier: relationships. Think about your network of relationships and the skills, attitudes, and behavior that allow you to feel connected to others and to yourself. Interpersonal well-being is characterized by satisfying and meaningful relationships that provide support, fun, and challenge. 3 things to reflect upon with relationships when we come back here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's FANS.fppradio.com.
This is Will Coley of the Call to Freedom, and you're listening to Darryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Before we jump into the things to reflect upon in your relationships, I've got a question for you. Do you use cryptocurrencies as an alternative to the fiat monies of the world? Do you advocate for free market money? If so, then you need SpendAbit in your arsenal. SpendAbit is the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. SpendAbit aggregates millions of products from thousands of crypto-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. Spendabit.fppradio.com. So, 3 questions to ask yourself. And again, these are basically statements that you would either agree or disagree with about whether or not your relationships bring you happiness. I spend time with friends and family to keep relationships strong. I turn to my network of friends and family for support when I need it. I spend time building new and existing relationships. The article here concludes by saying, take time this holiday season. And yes, I realize we're no longer in the holiday season, but I digress and continue. Take time to take stock of your well-being, renew your energy, and set yourself up for happiness in work and in life in 2018. And again, as always, the link will be in the show notes. You can go back, read it at your leisure, and yeah, let me know. Again, if you made any New Year's resolutions or set any goals for the year 2018, I want to know how you're doing. Send an email, goals@fppradio.com. That's GOALS @fppradio.com. And maybe you've got a question about some of the goals that I have set, how I'm doing on those goals. Well, you can send me a question about that or anything else that is on your mind, because I answer your questions every Friday on the Ask Me Anything. Send those emails using the anonymous, if you want it to be anonymous, contact form on the website, ama.fppradio.com. You need to put a name. Doesn't have to be your name. Doesn't even have to be a real name. Need an email address? Again, doesn't have to be yours. Doesn't have to be real. But I do have to be able to understand the question. ama.fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.